Okay, all right. Welcome to the Space and Rocket Review. So, guys, this is part of a new thing that I kind of want to mess with here. Doing space news basically on the tail end of the stream. I'm not really sure how this is gonna work, but I think it would be cool to align space news with the NASA space flight. NSF Live that we do at the end of the week. I think that would be a good idea. So I'm gonna try, and we're gonna see over the next 2 days. We'll see what happens here. Okay. So let's. That being said, let's pop in. Let's No. NSF Live is on Fridays. Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern. That time might be subject to change, just so they can get a little bit more like European viewers. Oh, hold on, there we go. So yeah, we'll see. Hey, there he is. Yeah, let me compile these links here, and we'll go from there. I got that up and running there. Okay, I got that one. I got that. Yes. And we're going to be talking a little bit about Blue Origin today. I've already done it a little bit on the stream, but, we'll go from there. I got those pictures. We can close that out. Okay. All right. Nooglins. That's right, man. Okay, there's a discussion piece there. Tell us about Blorgen. Oh, I will. Don't you worry. Tell us a space story, Dad. Give me one moment. Yeah, there's a lot. There's actually a ton of space news today, believe it or not. I'm trying just to organize it. I haven't done this in a little while, but we're trying to get back into a groove here and roll from there. I'm trying to put SpaceX stuff together with Blorgen stuff. Yeah, we don't need Space Coast Live. We have all the pictures. There's Varda. There's a discussion piece there. ULA is putting Atlas back on the pad. Another Atlas. That can go there. There's some Falcon 9 SpaceX news. There's the Intuitive Machines lander. Dude, there's Varda. There's a bunch of stuff, man. Here, let's see if we can get an IM1 update here. Tomorrow's Starlink mission will bring in the new Life Leader 1061, hitting 19 flights. Yeah, there is a Falcon 9 launch tomorrow at 11. All right, so about 26 hours from now. Actually, 26 on the dot from now, if it decides to go. That's Starlink Group 715 out of Vandenberg. This too. Already got that. All right, so let's start with what we saw this morning. Here, take a look at this, dudes. So, Blorgen. Actually, here, let's get some nice background music. All right. Just trying to get some. There we go. Let's get it low in the background there. Gotta mix the sound right. There we go. All right, cool. So, check this out. Blue Origin tweeted this afternoon. Or actually, it was this morning. Take a look. They have their new Glenn. This is a test article here. I guess you could call it a structural testing article, but it's basically a new Glenn rocket with not all the pieces installed. I would call this an integration test article, but it's the first time that a new Glenn stack has been put onto a transporter erector and rolled out on the pad. Blue Origin did do some tests with a mass simulator first stage, so something that kind of looked like the first stage but wasn't actually the first stage. This first stage, second stage, and payload fairing that's behind my melon, those guys right there, those are flight fidelity stuff. They're just not completed. They could be retooled for flight stages in the future. Stage 1 tankage is for the first flight. Engine section for a later flight. The rest is just a sim. Even the second stage? You sure about that? Are you sure? So, we got pictures. This is from the New York Times, which is just... oh boy. So this is a picture of the rollout. It looks like the entire transporter erector is being moved on a big self-propelled modular transporter. An SPMT that's like, I think it's 3 SPMTs wide by maybe like 5 long or something. That's a lot of wheels. Dynamic testing vehicle. So, I don't know if you guys noticed. I don't know if you guys could tell from that pickup truck right there. This thing is not small. Yeah, not small. That's the right way to say that. I mean, if you look at the people kind of standing down there at the edge of the TE, this is not a small vehicle. I said it at the beginning of the stream. New Glenn isn't... New Glenn isn't as big as the Saturn V, but it's almost as big as the Saturn V. It's very close. Those are Hot Wheels and Lego, man. I mean, dude, the freaking half-ton pickup truck right here, it makes it look like a quarter-ton truck, which is bananas to me. That's just absolutely crazy. I can't freaking believe that. That's really, really cool. I mean, and then the transporter erector is something else. It gives me some grasshopper vibes here. So the grasshopper, or the TUA, was the vehicle that was used to move Buran Energia from the MIK building to Site 110, its launch pad. Now this is Soviet stuff right there. Obviously that's the Soviet space shuttle, but the grasshoppers were actually not originally built for this. What they were built for is the N1, the ill-fated N1 lunar rocket for the Soviet space program. Now, if you go and look at this thing, the N1 was transported basically with a strongback erector here, and this thing actually turned it upright and placed it on the pad. Which is wild. Pretty crazy, actually. And now it got me kind of thinking. Now, I don't know if you guys can see this picture. If you see the train tracks, see the people standing around down there. This is not a small piece of equipment by any means. Crazy thing about this, the Russians use broad gauge, 1500 millimeter So those train tracks are wider than a standard gauge train track, which is, I think, 1436. Or no, something like that. 1520, excuse me. Yeah, that's crazy, right? I mean, the point is that thing is freaking gigantic, and it took the dang rocket. I mean, look at the locomotives comparatively. It took that thing and turned it upright like that. There isn't many pictures of it, but the crazy thing is that if I'm thinking about this right, New Glenn's transporter erector is about the same size, minus the locomotives in the train track. But it's actually pretty freaking close, dude. It's about the same size because, like I said, New Glenn is not as big as the Saturn V or even the N1, but it's almost as big as them. New Glenn in this picture, fellas, would probably, the payload fairing would probably be like right here. Like if the engine section is lined up, it's almost as big. So that should tell you the scale. And it just kind of, it's something that I talked about a little bit earlier in the stream. Actually, that was like the first thing we talked about on the stream. I'm going to shut the music off. It doesn't feel right. I wanted to see how it felt. Didn't feel right. It's something that I was been talking about a little bit earlier on the stream. Like, New Glenn is a heavy lift launch vehicle. It's borderline super heavy. Actually, by definition, I think above 25 is a heavy launch vehicle. Either way, New Glenn can move about 45 metric tons. At least that's what it was last rated at, and the last rating that we ever got from Blue Origin was in 2018, 6 years ago. So it's probably more. Since then, they've probably refined the design a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb here and say this probably can move about 50 tons into low Earth orbit. 50 tons, 7 meter payload fairing, 7 meters upper stage. Upper stage has 1 meganewton of thrust. High energy upper stage, or high TWR, high energy transfer optimized stage. Basically, it's designed to support going to and from the moon a bunch of times. So, and then you got a reusable stage on top of it. Now, this is, what I said a little bit earlier in the stream was that this would be nuts if this rocket just existed by itself. It would be bananas if this was just a project that Blue Origin and NASA were working on, right? But if you consider the launch environment here, and this is something that when I was doing space news every day, and I want to get back into a groove of doing it, that's something it's just kind of a poignant thing. And I mean, it really isn't anything that I haven't said before, but New Glenn is this is just one small facet of the rapidly developing commercial space market. Blue Origin's a privately funded company, right? So this is a commercial vehicle. That's why I think the upper stage is built the way that it is, with high thrust to weight ratio. Designed for high energy transfers, because I think it's centered around moving people around in the not in the solar system, in cislunar architecture. Let's say moving people around the cislunar environment or putting payloads out there. That stage is pretty much a Saturn 1 or an S4B. It's a Saturn V third stage. It's not related to it architecturally in any way, shape, or form. I'm talking about in performance. The S4B had a single J2 engine in it, making 1,000 kilonewtons of thrust, and was 6.6 meters wide. That thing has 2 BE3s in it, each making 500 kilonewtons of thrust, and that's 7 meters wide. It's pretty close. It's pretty damn close. Now, if you consider this, and then you consider, that Falcon 9 pretty much launches every day. Tomorrow, we have that Starlink 715 launch. At 11, not at 715. 715 is the group name. Using Booster 1061 that's been reused that'll be its 19th flight if I'm If I'm looking at that right, that's what, Thomas, that's what you and I were talking about a second ago. 1061, 19 flights. You know, you got Falcon 9 doing its thing, right? Flying basically on the daily. New Glenn starting to come into focus. We got SLS. We have, obviously, SpaceX with Starship development. And then you have a nice plethora of other launch vehicles. There's Electron. There's Rocket Lab with Electron, which did launch over the weekend. It was a great mission. Who are also working on stage reuse. There's, Electron's future project. There's Neutron. There's Relativity with Terran 1. And, well, they've since switched to working on Terran R, which is supposedly going to be more or less competitive with Neutron and Falcon 9. We have Vulcan. H3 just launched. The Europeans are doing something with Ariane 6. Sorry, guys. They're doing something with Ariane 6. It represents a pretty damn healthy and diverse launch market, which is actually super freaking cool. It's crazy. This is nuts. I can't say that I hate this. There's, in a world of just poop sandwiches of bad news, this is a glimmering beacon of hope. Yeah, it's pretty awesome, man. It's pretty freaking cool. I mean, look at that dang thing. Look at the dude standing underneath the TE right here. You gotta be kidding me. Hey, the first flight Ariane 6 core was moved to Kourou recently, so it's doing something. All right, I'll take something. So check this out. Not only did they roll the thing out, but they rolled it to the pad and then turned it. This was actually just an hour ago as of this stream. If you're watching live, yeah, this was an hour ago. If you're watching the VOD, it was probably more than an hour ago. Just saying. They actually turned the thing upright, which is really cool. You said plethora, like El Guapo in the Three Amigos. Would you say, Iger, that I have a plethora of rockets? Iger, do you know what a plethora means? Do you know what that is? Why would you in fact use that word if you in fact didn't know what that word means? And rocket news always at 1 a.m. Don't do this, EJ, please. It could, Deadbringer, this is not the mock-up. This is stuff that could be retooled for flight. Think about it like this. This rocket is that. That's Enterprise. Vertical on the pad on Slick 6 at Vandenberg Air Force Base in 1985. Does that look like a shuttle stack? Yep. Is Enterprise technically a space shuttle? Yes, it is. Is it capable of flying into space? No. Could it have been made to fly into space? Yep. That's the equivalent. It's a usable shell, just like Enterprise. Yep, you got it, man. Yep. Oh, I really wish they had done that. That would have been pretty sweet. Oh. The shuttle with a red service tower, dude. I'm sorry. That is an aesthetic I didn't know I needed. Yeah, they should have done that. They really should have done that. That was stupid that they didn't. Freaking whole shuttle was built around doing So, okay, little bit of a history lesson here. Everybody knows that the Department of Defense had a lot of say in the shuttle's design, right? Everybody knows that. It was designed to launch spy satellites. We get that. We understand that part. But the exact reason, why they had so much say in the design is so the space shuttle could launch into a polar orbit out of Vandenberg, go halfway around to do one half of an orbit, deploy the payload, right? and then keep going and come back and land at Vandenberg Air Force Base. It was VAFB at the time. Now it's Space Force Base, right? It was supposed to, the whole entire shuttle design, the reason why it has its wings, the reason why it's such a gigantic vehicle, was it because it was designed to do polar orbit once around. It's based around that capability because that's the hardest thing that the shuttle was asked to do. At least from the beginning, that was one of the hardest things. The entire design methodology for the vehicle was basically designed around being able to launch into space, one half of an orbit, deploy the payload, other half of the orbit, come back down and land. That's, when people say, oh, the Department of Defense had a lot of say in the shuttle program, that's what that means. They built an entire shuttle launch complex at Vandenberg Air Force Base. I have all these awesome pictures and design reference because we were trying to build stuff like this in KSP, right? I have all this reference for how the pad went together and the systems integration and the plumbing, like we were dealing with plumbing and workers and resources, right? All the plumbing, everything. It was a fully operational pad. They even tested Enterprise on it, right? And then after Challenger, they said, yeah, no, never mind. Do you think we'll see true space plane that launches from the ground from the ground to space and lands back? Launches vertically or horizontally, Death? Oh, I love everything about that picture. I love the trucks, the van, the space shuttle, obviously. Horizontal. It's possible with propulsion development that's been going on lately. Sure, it's possible. Including the bow tie? Bro, you're not going to take a K-20? What are you, crazy? You're not going to... What is that? That looks like an 83 Custom Deluxe, if I had to guess. And it's a 4x4. So that's like an 83 or an 84 K-20 Custom Deluxe, something like that? Yeah, yes. Yes, I would drive that. Yeah, absolutely. They even did a deluge test. Lovely. But the car can fly. No, I don't think any of these vehicles can fly. The only way you could get them to fly is if you took it and you put it in the payload bay, which they would fit. I agree, Nader. I'm not to derail this into a shuttle discussion, but we're kind of already there. That was kind of my bad. Sorry. I will say it once. I'll say it again. I said it on NASA Spaceflight Live. The shuttle is S tier when it comes to spacecraft design. I get it. It's not. It didn't end up being the safest vehicle. But if you want to go on a camping trip out into the woods and you bring a semi-truck with a day cab, you're probably not going to have a lot of fun now, are you? Weird, huh? It's S tier. The vehicle is one of the... Like, it doesn't get better, dude. Now, I know people are going to say, come on, the shuttle never did. I will say that the shuttle's design, you didn't hear what I said. The design is S tier. If you were going to try to make a partially reusable, partially recoverable first stage, so the solid rocket boosters, partially reusable space plane like that, the shuttle is probably the simplest way to do it. You want to know how I know? Go look up some of the other proposals for the shuttle program that everybody else but Rockwell came up with. They're a little nutty. The shuttle was meant to be, it's a spacecraft that's meant to be used like an airplane, which is crazy. And you know what? I'll contend to say it did the airplane part pretty friggin' good, actually, for something that flies like poo-poo. Yeah, Joe, it really is, right? So, like I said, I think the shuttle's design is insanely good. For a hypersonic reentry vehicle that could basically bring a Greyhound bus into space and bring it back, you can't design better. Maybe only that. Maybe. If it works. I think it will. Don't worry. I'm not hating on Starship. I love Starship. Because it's going to vindicate my shuttle. It's going to vindicate my shuttle, dang it. I think the problems with the shuttle weren't the design. I think the problem was the program, to be honest with you. The shuttle was supposed to be iterative. It was supposed to be like Falcon 9. Falcon 9 is doing exactly what the shuttle program was meant to do. And I don't know if I should be bitter about that. Like, I don't think I should be bitter about that, but I can't help but think, man, that would be really cool if we had space shuttles flying up into space every 2 days. That would be pretty neat. Willie, politics. Well, let's just say a programmatic management problem, and we'll go from there. We'll go from there, dude. Plenty of headroom in the day cab. Yeah, sure, okay. For a brick, it flies pretty good. But yeah, you know, it would have been nice to have the shuttle flying once a day. But I guess what I'm kind of honing in on is that it's just nice that we have all these other cool vehicles. If we can't have the shuttle, it's probably cool. I'm happy with this. That's fine. And once again, Starship decides to do its thing, and Starship succeeds at doing its thing, then we get something better than the shuttle. You get a space shuttle that can shuttle to other planets. That doesn't suck. Don't hate that. Don't hate that. I agree, Nader. 100%, dude. I think the accidents were emblematic of the management of the program. You know, you don't take a Harrier and try to break the sound barrier. You know why? It wasn't designed to do that. If you put your vehicle purposefully from a programmatic management perspective into a failure mode, it's probably going to fail. Weird concept, right? Weird concept. Huh. That really gets the noggin jogging, doesn't it? Funny how that works. It's almost like if you have a nuclear reactor that was made with low-cost materials, so safety systems were implemented to overcome the engineering fact that they were made with low-cost materials for cheaper, and then you have somebody go and disable on all the safeties on that system, the nuclear reactor blows up. That's weird. Huh. Another programmatic management failure, April 26, 1986. Go look it up. Coincidentally, same year as Challenger. Weird, huh? But anyway, we don't see any of that with this. Very nice. Very nice. So yeah, really super pumped for Blue. Well, this isn't a full fidelity mock-up. This isn't a full fidelity article. It's pretty damn close. I always said Blue Origin is going to come out of nowhere. They're going to come out of nowhere, and they're going to do stuff like this. You know, people in the past, people have asked me, like, we've heard nothing from Blue. What are they doing? What are they doing? Well, they're super secretive about it. But I guarantee you, when they have something to show, they're going to show it. Yeah, it was a safety test, guy. That's 80% more safety per safety. Yeah. Why do you think I think safety, using safety as empirical evidence for systems engineering and design is not a smart thing to do? We want to launch when it's safe to launch. The life support systems don't work. So we're going to delay the flight by a year because we didn't bother to programmatically test them right. Huh, that's weird. Very weird. Once again, don't get me wrong. If you guys think I'm just some bum sitting here spouting off about spacecraft, this is though what I just said in my critiques of NASA and the shuttle program, etc., are not my opinions. I'll admit I'm regurgitating somebody else's opinion when it comes to that. Whose opinion am I regurgitating? NASA. Yep. Yep. Oh, these aren't my rules. They're their rules. I'm sorry. I'm just regurgitating what's in the NASA Systems Engineering Handbook. If you look at how the Artemis program is being managed and how the Artemis program is all coming together, a lot of rules in here are being broken. Weird, huh? Well, that's weird. That's the strange one. But, like I said, we got the commercial market to keep going. All right, so a little bit of a subject change here. We're still down at the Cape. Check this out. I love how Blorgen is super secret about building their rocket, and Elon is building his in a shed. Hey, the Starship is inside of an actual climate-controlled building nowadays, geek. But yeah, he started building it. Elon Musk built this in a tent with scraps. No. Yeah, Nader. Yeah. I'm kind of with you on that one. Anyway, flip this around. Check this out. More stuff going down at the Cape here. This footage is coming from ULA here. Take a look. So ULA moved another Atlas V to the Slick 41 vehicle integration facility here. That will be the stacking of the 100th Atlas V. But this flight will be unlike any of the previous. This rocket will launch NASA commercial crew astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams on the crew flight test for Starliner. All right. So this Atlas will be configured in what's called N22 configuration. N22 means no fairing, 2 solid rocket boosters, and 2 engines in the upper stage. Atlas V is capable of having a 1 or 2 engine upper stage. The N22 variant is one of those variants of Atlas V, which is basically a Lego kit, but with rockets. That's one of those variants of the Atlas V that actually flies with a dual-engine Centaur upper stage. And also, you can tell 2 SRBs are going to be attached to it because of the way it is. No, seriously, the tape covering the pins for the attachment points on the SRB are a dead giveaway. If there were more SRBs that were going to be mounted to this, there would be covers on the SRB mounts right there and right there. See the tape over the pins? That's the attachment point for one of the SRBs. There's another one over here. No, it's actually not symmetrical. The reason why it's not symmetrical is because of the plumbing. The liquid oxygen downcomer actually doesn't go through the RP1 tank. It goes out and around on the other side. So Atlas, believe it or not, in terms of hold down points, it has trisymmetry hold down points and then pentuple symmetry SRB attachment points. It's actually asymmetric. There's 2 attachment points on one side and 3 attachment points on the other side. But you can tell that this is at least a 2 SRB variant of Atlas V that's going to launch because of the safety tape on the booster pins. I'm surprised that Chris didn't ask to be added back on the crew. Yeah, you can actually see some of the plumbing and commodities stuff there just for a split second. See it right there? It's behind my head. Yeah, you can't really see it on here. But yeah. That's the pins to hold the SRMs on. The GEM, what are they? GEM 60s now, right? Why would they tape over the ones that they're using? Because there is separation hardware in there that is susceptible to FOD contamination. Those other attachment points, believe it or not, MK, are put on every Atlas. Every Atlas V, no matter how many SRBs are on it, flies with the mounts for the attachment points for the SRBs. Why would you do that, you ask? Well, it's easier from a production standpoint to make the same thing every time. That's why Atlas V's first stage is called a CCB, or Common Core Booster. That allows for flexibility in your production. Say a launch gets delayed. Well, now you have an Atlas V core sitting on the pad, right? You could just take it off the pad for a second, switch the pins on the SRBs, put it back on. you're good to go. Or just attach the pins when it's still LVOS, what's called LVOS, launch vehicle on stand. Atlas V has very big flexibility. It allows for flexibility in the supply chain. It's actually a really smart idea. The booster's a freaking Lego kit. I don't know if you guys know too much about Atlas V and all of its different configurations. It's really, really not a bad piece of hardware. I will contend to say that Vulcan's probably better at this point, but here, check it out. Look at all the different variations. N22 flies with the AJ60 since those are crew rated. Bingo. Yep. So check it out. Atlas V is capable of having up to 5 SRBs, right? 3 SRBs in certain configurations. It comes with 2 different styles of fairing, and so this is a 400 series fairing and a 500 series fairing. Well, I should say it came with a lot of these variants of Atlas are retired at this point because that's weird. Anyway, there's the N22 variant right there. That's the one that's going to fly. Look, see once again, the SRBs are in an asymmetric configuration. Weird, huh? What would we need 5 SRBs for? Well, first of all, you can't fly 5 SRBs with a 400 series fairing because that fairing's made out of aluminum and it would crumple like a soda can. just to let you know. This 5 SRB configuration right here is used for heavier geostationary transfer orbits. So, it's actually not just geostationary transfer. This variant of rocket was specifically designed to be able for what's called geo-insertion. Being able to launch the satellite in the basically on a geostationary transfer and then circularize the satellite with the Centaur, upper stage, out in geostationary, and then separating the payload. Yeah, performance. Getting out to geostationary is the reason why you have so much oomph here. Small picture in your project. What's up? Oh, hell yeah. What do you got for me, man? What do you got for me? Yeah. We got some throttle body action there. How many G's does 551 generate? Let me put it to you like this, Nassan man. It's not rated for humans. Not rated for humans. Yep. The upper limits of a rocket for human rating shouldn't really exceed 5 G's sustained on ascent. 551 is not rated for humans. I think that sums that up. How many G's does it pull? Yes. If you ever seen one of those things fly off the pad, I'm not sure if there's any Atlas 551s left. I'm not sure if ULA is ever using that configuration again. I think they might be using 541s for all the remaining Atlas 5s. I know they're not using the 400 series fairings anymore. But Project Kuiper's 551, oh, thank God. Oh, sweet. When you see 551s go off the pad, you'll be like, whoa, that thing is, that's gone. All right, it was there a second ago. But it's not. Yep, just Atlas N22 and Atlas 551s. Yep. I think all their manifest is N22 and 551s now. Yep. Yeah, that's right. I remember. The last Atlas V launch that we saw was a 541. It was a Bruiser. 540, the Bruiser variant. ULA has all these cool names for all the different variations. Can the engine gimbal handle the asymmetry? There's an RD-180, an MPO Energomash RD-180 in the first stage doom with 8 degrees of thrust vector control. Yeah, it can handle it. Mm-hmm. Fun fact, that third SRB right there was added late in Atlas V's development. Yeah. I actually learned about this from following a guy named George Sowers on Twitter. He actually talked about him going through the R&D process for Atlas V like 25 years ago. And they were like, we have the margins to add another SRB, and the engine has 8 degrees of gimbal. It can absolutely compensate for it. So they're like, all right, do it. This was back when Atlas was being developed by Lockheed. The Atlas series rocket is a Lockheed design. Delta is a McDonnell Douglas design. Boeing is was Delta II, I think. No, Delta II was McDonnell Douglas as well. Boeing ended up, when they merged with McDonnell Douglas in 1997, Delta became a Boeing rocket. Launch of a 551. She's a beast. Where are the engines from? Ukraine. The RD-180s are not from Ukraine. RD-180s are made by MPO and Ergomash in Moscow. I think it's, they're made in Moscow. I forget the design center. The RD-170s were made by Yuzhnoye in the Ukraine. Titan was Lockheed, yeah. Atlas was originally Convair. Yeah, if you really want to know. If you want to know your history of ICBM companies producing different ICBMs. Atlas was Convair originally. Titan was Lockheed. Mm-hmm. Will Vulcan have the same rocket family at some point? Yeah, here. Vulcan can fly in... Well, it's definitely not as much as Atlas V. Not as many variants as Atlas V, that's for sure. Vulcan basically... What would it be, gentlemen? It would be Vulcan VC0, VC2, VC4, VC6. There's just 4 variants of it. Vulcan can launch with up to 6 SRBs attached to the side. Yeah, that's it. Missing Vulcan Heavy. Yeah, I know. The Vulcan, the Vulcan that did launch, that we did see launch a little while back, that was a VC2 configuration. That was the first inaugural launch. Yeah. You can only change the SRB configurations on this if I'm understanding this right. I don't think you can, at least right now, ULA, I don't think they're offering any different services like that. Does it still set itself on fire? No, unfortunately not. That's Delta. There is still one Delta IV launch left, if I'm understanding that right. So you will get to see Delta light itself off on fire one last time. Yeah, there's 2 fairing options. That's right. There's the big fairing and the small fairing. Yep. Yeah, one is 50 feet, the other's 70 feet, if I'm looking at this right. And, oh yeah, that's right. There's technically 3 variants, right, Thomas? Because they have the, and don't get me wrong, I needed the infographic. There's the multi-manifest, the Silda thingamajigger. This thing. They basically have a extended payload attachment fitting, and the extended payload attachment fitting basically is a giant cup, and it houses a satellite, and then they could stack another satellite on top of that. What? Light itself on fire? Nader. Hold on a second, brother. Hold on a second.
Save a terminal count. First aid system.
Just
Propulsion.
watch.
Go. Hydraulics. Go. Box. Go. LH2. Go. ECS.
This is the L91 highlights from about a year ago.
Go. Quality. Go. Op safety manager. Go. ULA safety officer. Go. Vehicle system engineer. Go. Anomaly chief. Go.
Oh, nice, goalie.
Training coordinator.
That's cool.
Clear to proceed. Launch director. Launch vehicle is ready to launch. Mission director.
This was the last launch of
Mission to launch.
at Slick 6, believe it or not.
Proceeding with the count. Go Delta. Go.
So, when Delta IV goes to launch, basically what happens is you have to start purging out the hydrogen gas. You see those puffs right there? In order to turn on the RS-68, you have to turn on the turbo pumps first. When you turn on the turbo pumps first, there's a momentary, maybe like half second, where the engines are shooting out atomized liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen. So gaseous hydrogen and oxygen that's been atomized. That split second requires a spark, radial outward firing igniters, called ROFIs for short. The ROFIs ignite that hydrogen gas and make sure that it doesn't pool someplace where you don't want it to pool. Because the thing about hydrogen, and the thing about using liquid hydrogen, is that if you use liquid hydrogen and you don't give it a place to catch on fire, it's going to find a place for you to catch on fire, and it will probably blow your vehicle up. Now, the McDonnell Douglas and Boeing engineers understood this, so they had igniters purge the flame. But that still didn't stop it from getting a little metal during the launch. Watch this.
So NROL 91.
Liftoff of the last West Coast United Launch Alliance Delta IV Heavy Rocket carrying 91 for the National Reconnaissance Office.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, I don't hate that. Yes, RJ, from Slick 3.
Strap-on separation. The center core RS-68A is now throttling back up to the high power level.
SpaceX needs to keep those integration buildings for Starship. Bandit, I kind of theorized about this on NSF Live last week. Do we know if Slick 6 is for Starship? Do we know? I don't know. If it is, unfortunately, I'm not sure how they're going to keep any of those integration buildings. Those integration buildings are designed for a 220-foot stack. The shuttle. Falcon 9 would fit in those integration buildings. If you redid the launch pedestal a little bit, it would fit in them just fine. Starship is like 350 feet tall. You'd need to double the size of those buildings. Blorgen tweet for New Glenn Vertical. Well, we're going to have to go check that out. Jeez. One building, I think the payload processing building, is owned by L3 Harris. It's possible, Phil, but why did somebody paint a giant SpaceX logo on that building then? Oh, hold on. Hold on. Just. Meet New Glenn. Our vehicle upended on its launch pad today for the first time. The rocket will remain vertical for at least a week for a series of tests in preparation for its first launch later this year. Thank you to our customers, partners, and everyone else championing the efforts to build a road to space for the benefit of Earth. Can I... Hey, can I? Yeah, You want it thick. Digital. You want to reuse your first stage or not? Digital. You want it thick. Will NSF follow Blue Origin or ULA like they follow SpaceX? Absolutely, Joe. NASA spaceflight follows everybody. That's part of the reason why I like working for them. Why I like doing stuff, because we like every rocket. I like everything, dude. If you don't know me and you've never seen one of my Space News segments before, a little bit about me. I like every rocket. Ain't nobody gonna convince me that less rockets are better for space. And I like space. I want more rockets. I don't want one rocket. I want all the rockets. I'm greedy. I ain't a fanboy of any one particular company. I am a fanboy for all of them. I just want more space stuff, dude. American rockets go. What's New Glenn's capability? Cake, we don't really know. Blue Origin have said 45 tons a long time ago. I'm guessing it's 50. It's just a guess. I'm guessing it's about 50 tons to LEO. I'm low Earth orbit, LEO, LEO. I'm guessing it's about 50. Just with what I'm looking at here. I mean, dude, the thing's a monster. And you get a 7-meter fairing. That is by far... Guys, let's just... I mean, put it into perspective here. That is the single largest payload fairing ever flown. Huh. Well, it's not... It hasn't flown yet. But you get the idea. When it does fly, that will be the largest payload fairing ever flown. Yeah. Wait, are you including the Starship Bay? That's a payload bay. I don't know if that... I don't know. I mean, should we... In our hierarchy of proper rocket nomenclature, I guess... I don't know. Are we including payload bays? Because guess what? That's bigger than a shuttle payload bay. It's probably... Starship's probably bigger, though. Not by much in terms of usable volume, but it's probably... Yeah, I mean, 9-meter Starship, right? Should have stuck around for a while. Everything is happening now. Yep, well, that's what happens when I live 1,100 miles away, man. Can't be down there all the time unless you want to start gifting subs, goalie, for another Florida trip, dude. Pay me, fool, and I'll go down Florida. I'll go down to Florida more. You want it thick. Repost. That's a wild thought. So they were retiring Delta. What's its replacement? Vulcan. Vulcan is its replacement. Cargo Saturn V. Skylab Erudite. Skylab was a dry workshop. It was not. It was only the top part was inside of a payload fairing, and the payload fairing on Skylab was a. It was basically a Saturn 1B fairing, 6.6 meter in diameter. If we go look at a picture of Skylab 1, the last Saturn V to launch. Yeah. That right there, this thing, 6.6 diameter. 6.6 meter diameter. It is quite literally a Saturn 1B fairing. Seriously, take a look. Now, when we Google pictures of a Saturn 1B, you're going to see pictures of it with the Apollo CSM on top, but the Saturn 1B did launch in a cargo variant. Look at AS204. See what I'm talking about? Actually, if you really want to know, AS204 is this. It's a vehicle stage adapter with a nose cone on the top. Seriously, they just took the nose cone off the top of the CSM that has the launch escape system. They took that off and they attached it to the vehicle staging adapter. Yeah, it's just that nose cone, but mounted right here. They were playing Kerbal with this thing, man. They really were. But Skylab has one of those. It's 203, not 204. See? Yeah, it's just a Saturn 1B fairing. And this is the payload right here. Let me pay the hospital first. All right, that's fair. Would you explain why a bigger nozzle in space is better than a smaller one in atmosphere, please? Yeah, sure. It's not necessarily a bigger nozzle, okay? If we're going to talk propulsion, the important thing to understand is a characteristic in rocket propulsion engineering called expansion ratio. Expansion ratio is entirely dependent on where the rocket engine is operating. So, expansion ratio is a really cool, nerdy way of saying how big the nozzle is. But it also denotes the geometry of said nozzle, too, the shape. Some of them could be shorter, some of them could be longer, some of them could have a steeper curvature to it, and some of them could be wide open, like a trumpet. Right? Now, with expansion ratio generally, with an upper stage engine, generally speaking, because this is rocket science, it gets complicated very, very quickly. You if your ambient pressure is nothing, so you have an engine that's that's working in the vacuum, you're going to optimize the nozzle around that. That generally means a bigger nozzle. Why? Why? Well, when a rocket engine is operating down here, a bigger nozzle, a long nozzle, isn't really needed. Why? Well, there's this atmospheric thing. The gases in our atmosphere. They're going to keep the flame in more of a cylindric shape. Actually, technically it's more of an hourglass shape, but here, let's just take a look at a picture of a Raptor engine firing. Because it's Raptor. So check this out. First stage engines generally don't need as big of a nozzle. Why don't they need as big of a nozzle? Well, the ambient pressure, the outside ambient pressure, which denotes expansion ratio on a nozzle, where's your engine operating, right? That basically pushes the gases in on themselves. This is why I said hourglass instead of like cylindric. See what I mean? This pushes the gases in on each other and keeps the gases generally flowing in that direction. See that? See the gases are going that way. I don't know if you can tell. They're not going this way, and they're not going that way. They're going that way. Okay. Now, just because I know someone's going to ask, what the heck is that triangle thing? That's called an oblique shock. Okay. Because the gases coming out of this engine are forced back in on themselves because of they have basically the mass of the entire atmosphere above them pushing them together, they collapse in on themselves. The flow phenomenon that happens from this is called an oblique shock or a shock cone. The oblique shock is technically right here. That's the cone. Yeah, the gases bouncing off of each other. This happens with jet engines too. If you have a jet engine with a reheater or an afterburner, you could see the flames doing this. They actually kind of, like a rock skipping off water, they kind of go out and in and out and in and out and in and out and in, right? So with Raptor, because it's so damn powerful, I mean, with most rocket engines, you get maybe like 1 or 2. With Raptor, because it's so powerful, we got 3, maybe even 4 here, because Raptor's a freaking monster. That engine is just, I don't know where from the 7th level of hell that thing came from, but Air Force Research Lab if we really want to be technical, but that's another story again. See, like I said, I'm trying to speak generally. This stuff gets super complicated super quickly. It's easy to just find your way into this freaking maze and you'd be like, oh, where am I? I don't know what's going on here. The nozzle goes in and out? No, not the nozzle. The flames. So, now think about it like this. You have a smaller nozzle down here because the atmospheric pressure is going to keep the flames generally moving in the same direction, right? A nozzle up there on what's called a vacuum optimized engine, you need a bigger nozzle because in the vacuum, the gases coming out of that rocket engine, there's nothing keeping them from going this way, right? Here, let's take this model of Starship that Yum Food Please gave me, right? See the vacuum Raptors? Bigger nozzle. In the vacuum, the gases are going to come out of here. There's nothing keeping the gases from going this way, from going that way. You're in the vacuum. There's no pressure out here. The gases will expand infinitely, right? A bigger nozzle is needed to try and get as much of that rocket to push gases that way. Because Newton's third law, you want it to go this way, you need to shoot gases that way. Pretty straightforward stuff, right? But unless you don't know it, it doesn't make a lot of sense until you think about it like that. A rocket engine needs to have force that's pushing opposite of the direction that you want to go. If you don't, you're not going to go in that direction, right? So if you ever played Kerbal, right, and you have a rocket engine mounted over here and your rocket's here, it's going to go like that. You don't want that, right? Obviously. But the bigger nozzle is needed because you're in the vacuum. There's nothing stopping the gases from moving tangentially to the vehicle's longitudinal axis. Meaning the gases coming out, they'll go this way. There's nothing stopping them from going that way because they're hot. And heat, gases expand. The gases especially expand in the vacuum, right? So vacuum optimized engines often have bigger nozzles to try and move as much of the gas as possible that way. Now, theoretically, the interesting thing here, theoretically, you can make the nozzle infinitely big and you'd get more efficiency out of it. You could basically expand a vacuum optimized nozzle infinitely. The reason why is because you're in the vacuum. There's no pressure. Right? So you could get infinite efficiency out of this by you could make a nozzle the size of an aircraft carrier, and it would be, well, maybe not that big. You're still limited by the flow rates of the turbine machinery, right? But I digest, right? But you, sorry, I said I digest, and it reminded me of, this is Second Mood Radio with me, J. Thomas Hornbuckle. No, theoretically, you make the nozzle as big as you want, but there are other limitations. Provided you could feed the rocket engine the fuel, you know what I mean? Another picture of Nudelands. Bruh. Oh, dude. Thanks for explaining. No problem. You just got to bear with me, though, because some of these explanations do take some setup because it's, the rocket science complicated. Bruh. Yeah, entropy, that's the better way to explain it. So I'm worried that's if I just say thrust equals mass flow rate times exhaust velocity, exit pressure, ambient pressure times the exit area. I'm pretty sure people will go, oh yeah, yes, thank you for the explanation, Jay. Yeah, no, that's good. You just said some words, man. All right, see you later. Yeah. Slow down. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, but math be mathin'. Yes, that's the technical way to say it, dude. Absolutely. That's nerd speak. Frickin' nerd. Stretch break, old man. You shut the fuck up. But here's the crazy part about this, dude. That doesn't, and this is actually a good segue here. Guess what we're going to talk about? The space shuttle again. No, here, check this out for real. So the space shuttle main engines are derived from the RS-25, right? The SSME is technically a derivative of the RS-25. If you really want to play the technical game, you could say RS-25. You could, for the purpose of this conversation, you could say SSME. You could say RS-25. You could say, it doesn't matter. All right, now here's a picture of a shuttle engine on the test stand, an RS-25 or an SSME. Call it whatever you want. This is a hydrogen and oxygen fuel-rich stage combustion cycle engine. Now I know what some people just did. That yep, yeah, those are words. Sure. Okay, check out the nozzle, all right? Just look at that shape, all right? Okay. It kind of is straight right here. It's not like completely aligned, and then it curves, it almost looks like it curves a little bit inward, right, at the very edge. Now, take a look at like a seriously vacuum optimized upper stage motor called the RL10B2. Now, that's an RL10B2. Look at that nozzle. Look at that one. The RL10 is actually an extendable nozzle. The RL10B2 is an extendable nozzle. See those three vertical lines right there? Those are screw jacks. Seriously, it's a pinion basically. There's three screw jacks in the top, and when the thing separates, the nozzle actually slides down over the rocket engine. When it's in its stowed position, it looks like that. Yeah, screw jacks. There are just three motors up here that turn it, and then that moves the nozzle down into position. It's three corkscrews. See them? 1, 2, and then there's a third one on the other side. So, look at that nozzle shape. Now, that's a vacuum-optimized engine. The RL10B is Delta 4, and by proxy, SLS's upper stage motor. D20, you're gonna roll add time right now in the middle of an explanation? Do you really? Like, good, you lost anyway. I hope you feel bad. So, see that shape? It doesn't, it kind of is curvy like right here, and then it basically stays straight. That's vacuum optimization. Now, let's look at a purpose-built first stage engine. Let's look at the Merlin 1D. This is Falcon 9's first stage engine. Take a look at that nozzle. That nozzle is more straight up here. See what I'm talking about? It's more straight, and then it starts to curve in down here. Now, like I said, there's a reason why I brought up the shuttle engines. Because this is what makes shuttle engines so damn choice and why they're so freaking good at what they do. Here's the thing. Can this rocket engine work in space? Yes, we saw one of them firing in space actually yesterday when we saw Falcon 9 launch, right? Sure. Merlin 1D is a first stage optimized engine. It's designed to work down here, not so much up there. It rolls coal, like I told you, right? Can it work up there? Sure. You're taking an efficiency hit. It will generate more thrust and slightly more. It's actually slightly more efficient up there because the gases coming out aren't getting impeded by anything. But this nozzle doesn't work too well up there. It can, but it's not as big as it could be. Now, simultaneously, if you took an RL-10B and you tried to fire that thing down here, it would blow up. I'm not kidding. It would explode. Now, what the hell's that about? What do you mean explode? It'll go right to your thighs, and then you'll blow up. Here. Nope, it just wants to download that because embedding. Juno New Origins, though. So check that out. Why will it explode? Well, the short answer is that when it's firing up there, like I said, you have vacuum. So there's ambient vacuum, right? So there's zero pressure outside. So the explosion that's coming out of the throat, which is the hourglass part of the rocket engine, right? The explosion that comes out of that has a lot of breathing room to expand, and it'll fill up the whole nozzle. Easily. It'll easily fill up the whole nozzle and then some. And even the flames coming out at the end of the nozzle will still, like if the nozzle's pointed this way and gases are coming here, they'll still find a way to go tangent 90 degrees off at the edge of the nozzle, right? In rocket science, this is called underexpansion. Okay? Now, if that's underexpansion, where the rocket engine, because of its operating conditions... Hey, King Lazy, thanks for the bits. I'll get to that, Phil, even though I don't want to, but I'll get to that. Now, if that's called over or under expansion, when the rocket engine is filling up the entire nozzle with explosion, well, here, let's see who's listening. Let's look at this picture of Raptor. Is that under expansion? You tell me. King Lazy, thank you for the bits. I do appreciate it. Is that under expansion? Is it under expansion? Yeah, Joe, that's right. That's an underexpanded plume. How do I know? Well, look at the nozzle right here. Look at the very edge of the nozzle. With underexpansion, like I said, you're going to get gases moving slightly outside of the nozzle. The nozzle's coming down like this on Raptor, and the gas actually kind of curves out a little bit. It goes down and then that way. It's very subtle, right? But it definitely does. The explosion that's made in the combustion chamber is enough to fill up the nozzle. That's what underexpansion means. And that's what you want to do. Because once again, you take that RL-10B, and if you tried to test fire it down here with ambient pressure, you would get overexpansion. Now, what happens with overexpansion, and EJ, why does it cause an explosion? Overexpansion is when the engine cannot fill up the nozzle enough. This creates, amongst other things, you're creating turbulent airflow inside of the nozzle. It makes cavitation inside of the nozzle. Any submariners or Navy guys around? Cavitation is bad. Yeah. This is cavitation with gases, though. You're getting a lot of differential pressure. You're basically making drag inside of the nozzle. That's not good for it. It's really not good for it. It's not good for it at all. I can show you what happens. There's a video. Here. Northrop Grumman was testing a stage for a now defunct launch vehicle called Omega. RIP. And they were... So here's a picture of it here. They were testing... They were doing a booster test. This rocket ended up never getting made, but they were doing a test for it. Now, see the nozzle right there? This test was in Ogden, Utah, so it was pretty high up above sea level. It's no secret that the pressure where around Denver, Utah, way up in the mountains, right, is going to be slightly different than it is at sea level. Not much. It's not much. But, you know, it's enough. It's a mile up off the ground, or 1.6 kilometers off sea level almost. Ogden, Utah is even higher. Now, here's the thing. That nozzle, the Northrop Grumman engineers thought, well, that's not going to be that big of a deal. We're high up enough. This nozzle is optimized for upper altitudes, right? It's not designed to work at sea level because the idea is that this thing is not going to be at sea level for more than like maybe 30 seconds. Because, you know, as Tim Dodd would say, you know, the flamey end down, put the pointy end up. It goes fast. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So, they went and did this test. And what happened is quite interesting. Let's go right here. Later in the test, they had overexpansion. Watch the nozzle. Oops. Did you see it? It was kind of subtle. I'll back it up just in case you missed it. Watch the nozzle. Oops. I wasn't kidding when I said overexpansion will blow up the rocket engine. Oh, it absolutely will. That's what happens when you make drag inside of the nozzle. It's not good for it. The engineers didn't engineer good enough. They thought that testing it at high altitude was enough to make sure that engine wouldn't do that, but it literally blew the nozzle off the SRB. If you look at that last picture, it blew the nozzle off the SRB. That there is no more nozzle. The nozzle is no more. It has ceased to be. So, why large nozzle versus small nozzle? Well, in rocket science, it has to do with over and under expansion. Basically, the rocket engine needs to fill up the entire nozzle and a little bit more under expansion with explosion. If it doesn't, you get drag inside of the nozzle, it explodes. Nozzle int. Let's watch that one more time because it's pretty funny, actually. I mean, nobody was hurt. Rocket doesn't exist anymore, unfortunately, but it's also... They did stream it live. Yeah, it was pretty funny, actually. This nozzle is no more. It has ceased to be. And now, on to something completely different. Good questions. What are you talking about? The nozzle's right there, and, you know, like, it's right there, and maybe a little bit over here, and, you know, some of it might even be over here somewhere. Yeah, it's there. It's cool. The rocket has dynamic specific impulse configuration. Yeah, it's funny. I actually streamed that test live with permission, right? We streamed that test live here on Twitch, and you heard them on the loop go, you heard them go, oh? It's pretty funny, dude. Thanks for explaining. There's a lot to learn. Rocket science is tough, man. It's tough. It's difficult. This stuff's complicated. It's taken me 10 years to get these explanations honed in this good. Yep. It's still not as funny as the, It's still not as funny as this. Here. This is a good one. And I'm just showing this for fun. This has nothing to do with nozzles, believe it or not. Actually, this doesn't have necessarily anything to do with nozzles. What this has to do with is with SRB casings. So, I guess the lesson here to learn about nozzles, more or less, is that, you know, if you're not using the rocket engine as it was engineered to be used, it usually results in an explosion. It usually results in an explosion. Not, you know, not test firing the rocket engine at the altitude that it was specified to be tested at. Not mimicking its flight regime. Test as you fly. This is what happens when someone drops and cracks the casing on an SRB and then decides it's fine. Watch.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. We have ignition and liftoff from Cape Canaveral Air Station of the Air Force Delta II launch.
Oh, that's working good. Yeah, see, it's fine.
2R satellite.
It's fine. It'll be good.
We have had an anomaly. We just had an anomaly of the Delta II launch vehicle from Cape Canaveral Air Station.
Yeah, that's what happens when you drop one of those things and then say, yeah, it's good. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Just put it on there. Yeah, what happens is you get non-uniform pressure pushing on the casing inside of the SRB combustion chamber, which is the entire SRB. You have non-uniform force pushing out. It's going to find well, not non-uniform force. You have uniform force being applied to a surface area that is not, well, not symmetrical. That's not consistent all the way around. Basically, there's a weak point in the casing. If there's a weak point or a seam, it pops like a balloon. Weird, right? That's weird. It's not weird at all. That's exactly what happened. Yeah, the commentary is what does it. I mean, but what do you say? What do you say when this happens? What are you supposed to say? I guess it's not working anymore?
We have had an anomaly. We just had an anomaly of the Delta II vehicle from Cape Canaveral Air Station. We need to secure the area.
Oh, yeah, secure the area. Yeah, that's right.
Once again, we had liftoff of Delta II launch vehicle from Cape Canaveral.
I don't think the area is secure, guys.
A problem with the vehicle on the pad.
Yeah, problem. Yeah, it's literally raining hellfire. Yeah, no, it's yeah, it's, you know, a problem. Yeah, okay. That, you know, that I don't think something worked. Yeah, secure the area. It's funny, the flight controllers that were in the Launch Control Center for that, yeah, they had to call insurance that day. This was in 1997, for what it's worth. They had to call the insurance company and say they've been in an accident. And the insurance company, when they told the insurance company, they thought they were screwing with them. Yeah, true story. That was actually, there was a documentary about that launch. And the guy was like, one of the flight controllers is like, yeah, I had to call the insurance company and tell them I'd been in an accident. And they thought I was prank calling them. Yep. But I actually had to tell them that a rocket just landed on my car and obliterated it. Because that's exactly what happened. And this was back when, yeah, they were using blockhouses. Yeah, they were controlling that vehicle about, I don't know, 100 meters away from the pad. Whoops. This is why we don't do that anymore. That's a good point, Phil. What make and model did they put for the vehicle in the accident? I don't know. I think there may have been some cars and All right. Well, here, you tell me. Oh, no. Oh, no. That's just a Ranger, whatever. I don't know what that... I'm not sure I can tell what this is. That... Maybe... That looks like a square body. That looks like a K-20. Yeah. Yeah, you think that'll buff out? Looks like a Nissan. Yeah, maybe an old Altima or something. Wasn't it raining SRB fuel for hours? No, not hours. Only for a little bit. It's funny because this guy over here is like, well, my truck's fine. And these ones are not. These ones are, in fact, not fine. Did they have live... You had to go look at the documentary, but I actually don't remember if they covered it. That would really suck if they didn't, though. Did the rockets get assigned N numbers? Specifically, did the shuttles have them since they flew as aircraft? No tail number on the shuttle as far as I know. I know the shuttle does have a serial number. The shuttles do have serial numbers. It's OV10X. So they were... So, like, okay, let me give you an example. Enterprise was Orbital Vehicle 101. First one off the assembly line. Columbia was the second one, 102. Challenger technically was the third one. Challenger doesn't have a 10X designation. Technically, it's OV099. It was the third one off the assembly line because NASA decided to refit a test article and make it an orbiter. Make the test article an orbiter instead of Enterprise, but that's another story. So, Enterprise is 101. Columbia is 102. So what came next, fellas? Discovery. Discovery's 103. Atlantis is 104. Endeavor's 105. That's the closest thing they have to tail numbers. NCC 1701. The only Enterprise that's ever been... The closest... Okay, alright, yeah. There's NCC 1701, alright? You know, personally, I'm a fan of Enterprise D. I think that's the coolest one. I know there were some programmatic problems with that. I still think it's cool. It has a greenhouse in it. That's kind of neat. However, you know which Enterprise got the closest to space? The one that's the space shuttle. Unless somebody figured out a way to get an aircraft carrier 30,000 feet in the air, OV-101 is the closest thing named Enterprise that's gotten to space. Or unless they're not telling us something, which also, I mean, maybe. I mean, maybe. Who knows? That'd be kind of, if they do have something like that, could you, like, tell us so we can, like, do that whole Star Wars thing up in space? You know, minus the whole Darth Vader part. Isn't one of the dragons named Enterprise? No. Endeavor. Endeavor, Endurance, Freedom. Oh, what's the fourth one? There is another one. Oh, balls. I should know this cold. It's not Discovery. No, these are Dragon capsules. Ah, poop. Now I gotta look it up. Dagron 2. Freedom? Freedom? Is it? I mean, it's a good name. Shouldn't forget about freedom. Let's see. Yeah, C204. Yeah, that didn't end well. So Endeavor. Endeavor, Resilience, Endurance, and Freedom. That's it. Yeah, cool. Bob and Doug's Funhouse. Yeah, that's right, man. Dragon C206 was named after the space shuttle. Yeah, which is pretty dope. Because the first two guys that flew on it were ex-shuttle pilots. I'm sure we could figure out how to get an aircraft carrier up in space. We got a manhole cover up there once. I mean, let's rock and roll then, man. Let's do it. I'm sick of this stagnation. We used to launch manhole covers into space. It's like muscly Doge versus wimpy Doge. You know what I mean? Like, U.S. in 1950. We will launch a manhole cover into space just because to test Newton's third law. Now, we can't the environment. I'm just kidding. It's kind of funny, though. I got a chuckle out of it, okay? Don't. You laughed. It was funny. Easy. Just do what Q said and change the coefficient value of gravity. That's probably not a good idea. Yeah, RJ, you can call me an old man all you want. You can say I've been taking whatever suppository that you imagine. Good news, everyone. It's a suppository. But at the end of the day, where's your down mass capability? Oh, wait. You don't have any. Let me put it to you like this. The launch vehicle that I like can take Dragon capsules in one piece up to space and back down. We are not the same. Okay. Q would never give you bad advice. Isn't Q chaotic neutral? He's not your friend, not your enemy. He's just a dick. Actually, if we're going to trek out for a second here, I firmly believe that Q did the Federation a favor by introducing them to the Borg long before they made it to our galaxy. I think Q did them an absolute favor. Can you imagine if the Borg just showed up at our doorstep? That would have ended very poorly. Yeah, yep. So tip my cap to Q on that one. Yeah, think about it, dudes. Think about it. Yeah, we're getting into Trek, man. Yeah, we're trekking out. Seriously. If he didn't introduce Picard to the Borg, we would have been screwed. Q knew what he was doing. The Q continuum. Totally think Q planned that? Oh, yeah, absolutely. I always thought that was why Q intervened to begin with. Bingo! Exactly. See, all right, cool. Thank you. Yeah, right? It makes sense. A causality loop. You're trekking out harder than I know. I used to know the reason, but I disregarded that for actual spaceflight knowledge. Not to gatekeep like actual spaceflight knowledge. I like Star Trek, and I also like Star Wars too. If you want to talk to me about the finer differences between a J-27 Nubian hyperdrive and a Radon Ulzer 620C atmospheric breathing engine, we can do it. We'll tango with Star Trek info, not Star Wars info, because I know that stuff pretty good. Also, Wookiees don't live on Endor. Element, I think I lost a little bit of respect for you from that screenshot. Or from that picture that you took. That's good. How about Stargate? Stargate's pretty good. Never got into Stargate as much as Star Wars or Star Trek, but I do like it. SG-1 is a good time. Poodoo. Yeah. Minyoka bumbanta poodoo. Ho 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 ho. Yeah, I did, RJ. Yeah. All-terrain armored transport. That armor's too strong for blasters. Rogue group. Use your harpoons and tow cables. Go for the legs. It might be the only way of stopping them. Well, there's a T-14 hyperdrive was used on the Naboo cruiser, but the impulse engines on that Naboo cruiser from Episode 1 are J-Type 327 Nubian engines. Differences. Radon Ulzer 620Cs are the engines that Anakin had on his pod racer in Episode 1. Two different things. And if I'm remembering correctly, Radon L's or 620Cs are also the engines that are in an A-wing. But I could be wrong. Any expanded universe people out there? Help me out. Ah, yes! Nubian! We got lots of that. Helldivers 2 has a full-on ATSD piloted by another automaton. Cool. Cool. Yeah, Ingram for sure. Mm-hmm. Oh, interesting. Yeah, oh yeah, okay, yeah, I remember that. Hey, Natch, what's going on? Tough week, but I'm glad I made it back to the stream. I'm here, just doing my thing. Ah, thank you, Kenwa. Yeah, no, they weren't the same. There were differences. What fuel did the X-Wing use? What was the lore for the fuel for ships in Star Wars that they introduced just willy-nilly into the last 3 episodes? Coaxium? Coaxium, that's what it was called. The only reason why I acknowledge Coaxium is because it was acknowledged in Andor, not because it was acknowledged in other movies. Now Moria filled it up with diesel! The X-Wing was fueled by burritos. Andor's... Yeah, Kobe, they should have just not done episodes 7, 8, and 9 and just Andor and Mando. That's it. Just those. I don't... And Rogue One. That's it. I don't need it. Whatever that other stuff is, I don't need any of that. I don't need it. That's not Star Wars. I don't need that. Book of Boba Fett's actually pretty good too. Yes, that's correct, Tessa. Yep. Yep, you're spitting straight facts, my friend. I haven't watched Ashoka. Any good? Well, the fact that you guys mentioned it probably tells me that it's probably good. I should probably go do that. Solo wasn't the worst movie, to be honest. I didn't mind it. I think Ron Howard did a pretty good job. He did okay. It's not bad. Did you enjoy The Expanse? Oh, absolutely. You said the name wrong. Shh. Your name is wrong. Your brain has this shell on it. Ashoka's pretty good. There are actually a different number of starship fuels in canon. They all seem to be usable in the same engines. Well, I mean, a diesel, you could put, if you have a mechanical fuel injector on a diesel engine, I'm talking real life now, this isn't Star Wars. If you have a mechanical fuel injector on a diesel, you put anything flammable in it, it'll work. Anything that has an auto combustion temperature or auto ignition temperature near diesel will work just fine. Rogue One was baller, dude. I love, dude, Rogue One is excellent. Starkiller Base, man. Oh, that's so cool. So cool. Anyway, back to real space flight. Yeah, I don't think you're alone in that one, Nader, to be honest with you. Can we just... You ever stared at it? Marveled at its beauty? Its genius? Seriously, though, that is insane. That thing is nuts. I'm sorry, I'm just swooning over it. That's pretty freaking cool. Star Wars was real spaceflight. It's just a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Okay. That dude. I still can't believe this thing exists. They just crapped this out the other day. That's pretty neat. Have you said when hop? Oh, New Glenn is a little ways out from flying. Judging by what I see here, give it 6 months, and that's just an estimation based off of what I know about space programs and how long it takes to put this stuff together. And at least 6 months. They're a good ways out. There's a lot of stuff to validate here, guys. The reason why they put this thing out there is to make sure that you can take this thing and turn it upright. That's why their first test for verticating, technical term, industry term, for verticating the transporter erector was with their mass simulators. So they put it back down, rolled it back in, took the mass simulators off, and put the higher fidelity testing articles on. Now, this isn't a full fidelity vehicle. I'm pretty sure it doesn't have any engines in it, right? Except maybe on the second stage has some mock-ups or something. But it's important to understand that this could be retooled for flight. Parts of it could be retooled for flight in the future. Right now, this is a high-fidelity mock-up, basically, like Enterprise was for the shuttle program, right? But, like I said, a lot of processing flow to deal with here. You don't just want to put a multi-billion-dollar launch vehicle on this thing and then hope it's going to work. You have to be incremental in your testing. So, like I said, mass simulator, low-fidelity test article, test with that thing first, right? Then your higher fidelity test article, make sure it can put that thing up there. And then they'll probably take this thing down. They said they'll take it down after a week, so that means they're testing systems on board. They'll probably test detaching this thing, because you're not going to test, I don't think you're going to test fueling it. I'm not sure it has the plumbing to do it just yet, but it might, who knows. Personally, I think you're going to want a higher fidelity testing article, something that's much closer to your final version to do fueling tests. But that's still in the pipe. Literally the fuel is in those pipes right there. Actually, that's sound suppression, but that's another, whatever. There's fluid in those, all right? Hey, I was making a joke, all right? Just whatever. Anyway, long story short, you're going to have to go incrementally. I see no fueling tests. There's no commodities here. There's no engines. It's going to take time to put all that stuff together. Maybe on this article, maybe on another one. It's going to take time to get all that together and actually do your incremental testing on the stand. You don't want to put your flight fidelity thing on the transporter erector on the first try and then try to do every test. That won't end well. Something will break. You got to be slow and steady with this thing. It might be loaded up with SimSense. There's probably some load sensors in this thing somewhere to test strain on the stack during vertication. Sag, I was hoping to see a rocket launch tonight. There's a rocket launch in 25 hours. 25 hours. Gradatim Ferocitor. So, yeah, big news. Big news with Blue Origin. Big news with Newglands. Let's just switch gears just a little bit and talk about intuitive machines. So, the Odysseus IM-1, the Odysseus lander, the IM-1 mission, the Odysseus lander being a Nova Sea lander from a company called Intuitive Machines, has circularized around the moon. It did it this afternoon. The lander is out there. It's out there, and it's captured lunar orbit. What we're looking at tomorrow is a landing tomorrow around 4 Eastern, if I'm understanding this right. Where Nova Sea will attempt the first U.S. powered descent and landing on the moon since Apollo 17 in December of 1972. It will attempt the first landing from the U.S. in a long time. What am I looking at? A computer screen?
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Which is the second attempt this year. Unfortunately, the Peregrine lander, which was the first attempt, had a fuel leak and ended up burning up in Earth's atmosphere. After almost 50 years. 52 years, dude. 52 years since the U.S. or any U.S. entity has attempted a powered descent on the landing. Yes, it's been way too long. There's no excuse for it being this long. It's ridiculous that it's been this long, but be happy that it's happening again. Okay, you maybe laugh there in Spanish. Sí. Me gusta la biblioteca. Libros. I told you to make sure the fuel lines were tight. Hellfish, fun fact. When I was, after the Daytona, after the Rolex 24, Geek and I went to KSEVC, and I saw two guys with Intuitive Machine shirts staring at the shuttle motor at the Atlantis exhibit. And I walked up to them and I said, "No fuel leaks, boys, right?" And they both looked at me and went, "What the f-?" I go, "Do you guys work for Intuitive Machines?" And they're like, yeah, we do. I'm like, "That Nova C, man, I'm super pumped about that mission." And the guy was like, "Yeah, we were working on it this morning." I go, "No fuel leaks." And they're like, No. I'm like, all right, cool. Cool. Don't do anything the good Lord wouldn't do. Yeah, no, Geek was there. That happened. Those guys were super cool, though. And unfortunately, the KSEVC was closing, so I didn't have time to... Geek, I didn't have time to introduce myself or talk to those guys more. I would have sat there and picked their brains for like another 3 hours. But, yeah, it's probably better they didn't know that I'm some crazy person. Anyway, crazy spaceflight nutcase. Stupid tanker truck fire. Yeah. Oh, they know. Maybe. Actually, I can't tell you that. Damn it! Oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean to blue ball you like that. That's not cool. I can't say that. Ah! I'm sorry. I actually can't. Not a good idea. I'm sorry. Don't give me that face. I give you all kinds of cool information. I can't. Never mind. You freaking jerk. I'm sorry. I'll tell you about that later, okay? I will never forgive you tonight. Also, furthest cryogenic engine. Yeah, the furthest firing for circularization, the furthest firing of a cryogenic engine. I'm rifling through all the missions, Phil. Give me a second. Holy crap, you're right, dude. Okay. All I'm gonna say is that the people from Intuitive Machines, like NASA Spaceflight Live. That's all I'm saying. That's it. That's all you need to know. That's all. They like NSF Live. They like the new format for NSF Live. Let's just say that. We're not gonna say who. We're not gonna say, where I got that information. I got it from a guy who knows a guy who is friends with Joe Namath. With Joe Willie Namath, okay? Don't go leaving your own stains on the shirt, okay? Just shut it. Let's continue. All right, fine. I know a guy who knows a guy who went to the doctor once. And they put the stethoscope. It's so cold. They put it on you. And it freezes your skin, SpongeBob. Joe Willie is from your hometown. Cool. Hey, Onbab. What's going on, buddy? How are you? Good evening. Isn't it like isn't it like morning for you? Do they call him Wet Willie? Yeah? It's 11:50. Oh, so it's lunchtime, dude. What are you eating? You gonna get some kimchi, man? Kimchi. Anyway. So, yeah, my guy. All right. Let's roll. All right, so this next thing is coming from Varda Space. Varda Space had a payload on a SpaceX transporter mission. They had a payload on Transporter 9. Varda is a small aerospace startup, and this vehicle that they launched on Transporter 9 is actually a re-entry vehicle. I'll be honest with you, I did not know this until maybe a week ago. I didn't know this. It just stood there menacingly. I didn't know this until about a week ago. That payload is a re-entry vehicle. So Varda actually, the W1 spacecraft should be down back on the ground here, but it did execute at 3:44 Eastern time. It executed a re-entry burn, and the capsule came back down. They finally got clear to re-enter it. They did it this afternoon. Yeah, it's down. And one more thing for space because it's cool. What's that? Oh, yeah, the N-22 Atlas. Yeah, we covered that, T-Man. So, wait, was it Transporter 9? Oh, yeah, Rocket Lab provided the satellite platform. It was Transporter 9, right? Rocket Lab built the spacecraft, too. There you go. Cool. Excellent. Very, very cool. It's not every day that you get something back from space. In fact, most of the time, the stuff that's up there stays up there or it doesn't. To be, frank. But also EJ. SpongeBob. When should the lunar lander be arriving to the moon? It's already at the moon, Smoked Balloon. Yeah, it's already there. Landing? Tomorrow at 4. Okay, so let's use EJ start time as our metric here, because converting 1,000 freaking time zones is really annoying. Take whatever my start time is on your time, on your local time, and add 4 hours. That's when it's going to land. It's not my wallet. It's not my wallet. This is your wallet. And there's a license in here that says Patrick Star. Yep, sounds good. Well, then it's your wallet. Nope, not my wallet. Moon pictures. Oh, Phil. Oh, dude, you guys got to see this. Hold on. Dude. That is the sexiest thing I have ever seen. That's awesome. That's awesome. Let's frickin' go, man. Frickin' send it, dude. That's so cool. Okay, what's that weird headline? Huh, that's weird. Huh. Oh, that's pretty cool. Good for her. Sweet. Anyway. Also, reference to the Columbia shuttle, anyone? That's not a reference to the Columbia shuttle. Columbia is a brand of winter wear. They make jackets. They're sponsoring the mission. They actually made the multi-layer insulative wrap around that tank that has their logo on it. Yeah, Columbia makes really good coats. Yeah, absolutely. They make very, 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 very good clothes. Really high quality stuff. They provided the thermal blankets. That's correct. The Myla wrap, multi-layer insulation, MLI. Did you look at this one from the other day? I looked at it. I didn't show it on stream, but also the Falcon 9 second stage though. Oh, man. Look at that. You gotta be kidding me. Hey. Who's been watching Space News the whole time? Look at that vacuum optimized nozzle. That's pretty cool, right? Now you know why it is the way that it is. Vacuum optimization because overexpansion. Yes, say it with me. Bodegas. Yes, very good. Very good. That's pretty neat. That's a Falcon 9. You can tell it's that because of the way it is. That's pretty neat. 1 second stage reuse. Soon. Oh yeah, one more thing about vacuum optimization. I forgot you linked that. SpaceX, for missions that don't require the added performance, also has that crock of crap. Now that's under expansion. That's the stubby nozzle firework. I thought you said you liked, all right. I thought you said you liked, animals, Mr. Ventura. It suddenly occurred to me that great white bat has great white guano. That's what you slipped in. That's what was on your shoe, and that explains the abrasion on your palm. Let me run that back for you. Screwed me, that screwed me. It's screwed, that screwed, yet. I thought you liked, rockets, Mr. Ventura. Stubby nozzle versus beluga. Decide. Stubby nozzle. I'd rather be short than have my airplane look like half of it melted.
Discovery,
Guys.
go at throttle up.
Hey! Blazing Pyro had a 70-month resub in there. King Lazy had 50 bits before that. And Kenwa with the 5
Discovery,
gifted
go at throttle up.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. Seriously, though. Why do people want to look at this plane that looks like the front melted? Not fell off. It looks like the front melted and be like, yep, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I like it. Bro, it looks like it has a broken nose. Okay? It looks like it's got a broken nose, right? It does. Is it for transporting Zeppelins? Actually, Nassenman, it's for transporting airplanes, believe it or not. I'm sorry, do you not want large volume heavy cargo lifters? Yeah, I do, but I don't want it to look like it got punched in the face. Now we're talking. See? That's how you do cargo aircraft. It's beautiful. Nice. That was old Boeing, not new Boeing. Yeah, of course, Fox. Yeah, of course. Still ugly. You know what? I get it. We have to be inclusive. I understand that. You know, you don't want to be a jerk. Respect everybody's views. Anybody that seriously think the Beluga is better looking than the Dreamlifter, you need your head examined. I'm gatekeeping the frick out of this. I don't care. That plane is ridiculous looking. The Dreamlifter looks cool. I'm sorry. No, it's not a matter of taste. All right? You need to change your palate. Start eating more spicy food. What's wrong with you? The hell? Come on! We rate cargo lifters by looks now. You are trying to tell me that a converted A330 has better performance than a 747 jumbo cargo conversion. Hellfish, I don't know what glue you're eating right now, but please share with the class so we can shame you for the way you think. $225 was the best. Was. Operative word. No, I'm not happy about it either. Okay? The Dreamlifter needs new engines. The thing is a gas guzzler compared to the Beluga, like 747-8 engines. What does it have on there? Don't tell me. Don't say it has JT9s or something, or JT8s. I'll get very, very concerned. The UK is rebuilding the 225, if you recall correctly. Oh, that's cool. A friend of mine in the Redcoats got really into the bit and ate a full crayon one day. Oh, I'm sure it was tasty. All right, Pogo. Good night, buddy. You're just so unhappy with the industrial war tonight. Dude, I'm telling you, man. That steel mill stuff pissed me off. It brought up a lot of feelings. There's a lot of feelings there that I didn't realize were still there. That just makes me mad. I'm gonna get annoyed. I'm gonna get pissed. Anyway, for your sub alert, what does going dry lump mean? It's discovery go at throttle up. It's a milestone in the ascent trajectory of the space shuttle, dude. Go at throttle up means that means the shuttle has gotten past maximum dynamic pressure and is okay to throttle its engines from 66 back up to 100 or 101, 103 to pick your poison. What part of the shuttle program are you talking about? To throttle up to get out of the lower parts of the atmosphere. Go at throttle up. Going dry lump. All right. For this next one, I'm going to have to bring up Google Earth here for this next bit of news. Oh, there's big-ish news today. Oh, yeah. We could also talk about Firefly, yeah. With the bits from Shaw, the bits. Bits. Yeah, Kuro, I knew that already. Yeah, so, okay, here, take a look. This next bit of news has to do with SpaceX and Falcon 9. And to show you this, I need to show you the Bahamas. Frick you, man, frick you. I fly the rocket to the Bahamas, okay? You're going to trust some guy in a Bahamian bank with $20 million a year hard-earned cash, Tony? Come on, don't be a schmuck. Going dry lump. Foo face, 31 months. I will check that in a second, Thomas. So, if you notice, between the Bahamas right here and Florida right here, there's a little bit of a gap. Now, actually, relatively recently, the Eastern Testing Range approved what's called an ascent corridor out of the Cape, which had been long dormant. It was approved, I believe, in 2020 or 2021. The ascent corridor was for SpaceX, and it's called the Cape Polar Ascent Corridor. It had been dormant since 1960. There's a really good reason for that. Cape Canaveral is right here. It's this little kind of thing that pops out right there. Cape Canaveral's right there, and the Polar Ascent Corridor basically is when a rocket launches out of here, it launches down here.
Discovery,
and goes this way. And I don't know how, informed you guys are with geopolitics from the early 1960s, but it was probably for good reason why you wouldn't want to launch a rocket in this direction. Hey, Sunti, what's up, man? 74 months, yar. And Foo Face, yeah, with your 30. Oh, yeah, you're going dry lump. Yeah, I already got that one. Dry lumps. Please don't make that a thing. It's go at throttle up. Don't do the shuttle like that. Anyway, so yeah, in 1960, the U.S. and Cuba were, let's just say, they weren't getting along. All right, and we'll leave it at that. So in 1960, a Thor Able missile first stage came down here and actually killed a cow in Cuba. Killed a cow in Cuba. Say that 3 times fast. Kill the cow in Cuba. Kill the cow in Cuba. Unique New York. Unique New York. Unique New York. Kennedy. 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 Anyway. So, after 1960, when they figured out that the stages could possibly land in a populated area, the Eastern Testing Range banned polar ascent corridors. They were opened up to SpaceX relatively recently. And SpaceX has been launching Falcon 9s out here and down here and catching the Falcon 9 first stages with a drone ship right here. Right? So, the news, why am I telling you this? Because this news came out today. So this is from Kiko Donchev. Kiko Donchev is the vice president of launch operations at SpaceX. Yeah. So, yeah, he's like way up there on the SpaceX totem pole. But anyway, check this out. Mega excited to see the announcement of the letter of agreement between SpaceX and the Bahamas. This will enable Falcon to land in Bahamian territorial waters and hopefully provide awesome drone ship landing viewing opportunities. A huge shout out to Aisha Bowe and the Prime Minister of the Bahamas for making it happen and also visiting HQ on Monday. So, basically before, that polar corridor was basically this. It's basically that ascent out of the Cape and nothing else. Nothing else. You couldn't fly over here because the Bahamas are there and there are people there, and the U.S. ain't in the business of dropping stages on people that are just trying to live their lives. That's the job for some other country. That's not us. So, launches out of the Cape were basically limited, polar launch corridor notwithstanding, they were limited to something like this. You could launch anywhere inside of this cone. Also with the polar corridor. Now, because of this, Falcon 9s are capable of launching basically anywhere in that cone. Yep. Which means they can put drone ships in Bahamian territorial waters and maybe do an ascent trajectory this way, an ascent trajectory that way, over here, something like that, which is actually super freaking cool. How awesome would it actually be? Where's NASA? How awesome would it actually be to have a drone ship right here and see a stage come and land while you're on vacation in the Bahamas? So you could say Cuba had beef with the U.S. Why are you like this, man? Why are you like this? Anyway, that's actually super cool news. It's just an agreement that SpaceX can operate the drone ships and land first stages in Bahamian territorial waters, which is actually pretty cool. That's pretty neat. Next NASA space flight cam, do it. They have to stop because there was a lot at stake. Yes, it was a mistake. I'm assuming they would need to consider sonic booms versus tourist happiness. Probably. What have we been up to these days? Got to try and start watching more after work instead of rotting on your couch. Oh. Sunti, I'll be honest with you. I'm kind of going through a funk right now, too. But what have I been up to? I've been, obviously, we chime in about space news every once in a while. I work for NASA Spaceflight on Fridays now, doing space news over there with Jack and Sawyer on NASA Spaceflight Live. So, do a lot of space news over there. Friday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's UTC minus 5. Not that that matters to you, Sunti, but just for anybody else. In terms of games, Kerbal 2 is good. Needs more time in the oven. I played Cities 2 for a little while. Cities 2 has some pretty glaring problems with it that needs to be addressed, in my opinion. It's basically impossible to lose. The game that I've been playing the most over the last 2 weeks is a game called Workers and Resources, Soviet Republic. It is a centralized economic city builder where you take control of a Soviet Eastern Bloc republic in 1960 and basically have to build your own utopia. How did the steel plant go? I didn't finish it, SC. I ran out of time. We'll work on it tomorrow. I'm American. I don't know what UTC means. Yeah, exactly. Yep. So, yeah, R2 is group flights and flight simulator. I always, dude, for whatever reason, whenever I come out here every time, I always forget that we could go and play flight simulator. I want to start doing it again. I gotta kind of I'm trying to get back into the groove, dudes. It's been tough, you know, with like Kerbal and KSP2 in the early access state that it's in, and Cities in the state that it's in. I mean, those are my two big games, like, and they need more time in the oven, both of them. I can't squeeze 10 hours of content a day out of them 5 days a week. You really can't. I tried with Cities, we were able to do it for a little while, but once we got to the upper limits of what my computer could handle, that was pretty much it. Did you see the ornithopter in Microsoft? Yeah, Pythos, that's cool. Dune is cool. Paul Atreides, that doesn't do anything for me. All right. Timberborn is really fun. Yep. But yeah, Sinti, that's what I've been up to. Yeah, I actually haven't played Kerbal in a really long time. I played KSP2 every time they patched the game for a little bit just to see what's good. But there are a lot of components that will be added to KSP2 soon that are not there. So we're kind of waiting. What I'm really waiting on with KSP2 is colony building, dude. Yeah. Are you a 51 boxes believer? Don't know what that means. There's some pretty cool mods for KSP2 right now. Yep. You try out that one KSP2 mod yet? I did mess with it, Weather Guy, and I love Linux, and I'm not trying to say you did a bad job. Those aren't really exactly the controls that I'm looking for. But once again, I did it really quick, like maybe a couple minutes in the VAB, so maybe I didn't evaluate it enough to be able to give a conclusive answer whether it was actually, decent or not. We'd have to go back and look. When will then be now? Soon. Did you get to making liquid rocket fuel? No, Pythos, I didn't. Not with our Stationeers save. Honestly, Workers and Resources is amazing, and I really, really like that game a lot. Yeah, I'm really into it. I understand if you're here for space, playing Workers and Resources all day, every day probably isn't your cup of tea, but I haven't been this enthused with a game in a really long time. And it's nice to do that. Like, even with KSP, I had to find my own ways to play the game. Workers and Resources is just a hard game to play. It's tough. I like the challenge. It's a difficult game to play, and if you can master it, you can make some really cool stuff in it. Just, similar to KSP, right? Hey, Only Cats, what's up, dude? God, that's a good way to put it. It's the only game that's really scratching the challenge itch right now. Because, like, Kerbal 2 is not really near feature completion, So, it's because it's not near feature completion, like, it's tough to play it to like main that game, to put it in like RPG terms. It's tough to main that game right now. But that doesn't mean it's bad. It's a good game. Watching you play while passionate is incredible. Yeah, King. Like, Workers and Resources is the first game that really challenged me, and it was tough because Cities was too easy. It's too easy. It's too easy to play it. I don't like the idea of failing, of being reckless and recklessly spending money left and right, taking out loans left and right, and still be rewarded for basically being like irresponsible. It's impossible to fail at Cities 2. It just throws money at you until you succeed, which, as someone that tries to play games where you're going to learn something, like in Workers, I could teach you how roads are made. I could teach you how trains are made. We could see how a coal plant looks with steel mill, like even today. There's just not really much for me to teach other than highway and traffic design with Cities. There's not much else. Yeah, Cinti, yeah. ironically, Kerbal was the first early access game, right? We're not here for the games, we're here for the passion. Well, it's very clear, Aqualex, from the last couple of streams that people are getting sick of workers and resources. The numbers don't lie, man. I still want to play it. Oh, that's super cool, Thomas. That's a really interesting ascent corridor. It's probably for Starlink, for southern optimized southern trajectory Starlink launches, huh? Workers and resources super tough because it's the USSR, for real. I think a new save that's rapidly expanding instead of stagnating will bring more people back. Hearts of Iron 7. Oh, I love that game, dude. I love that game, dude. But people get sick of Hearts of Iron real fast. It's fun to play every once in a while, I've noticed, but maining Hearts of Iron, like that's my thing, guys. I don't really have a game to main right now. Like, we're waiting on cities, we're waiting on Kerbal. I'm sure with the next city that we play in Workers and Resources, unless there's some other challenge modes or something, I'm fairly confident I'll get it out of my system, but I might not. Who knows? Per FCC documents, they have 5 missions already lined up for that Ascent Corridor. Nice, Thomas. More truck. Yeah, we could do that. What would you play after Workers? I wanted to try Helldivers. There's a lot of buzz about that game, and I do like shooting games. Not as much as I like building games. Building is way more. I like building games because it takes more skill to play those. Well, actually, maybe not when it comes to shooter games. Shooter games, I mean, former competitive Counter-Strike player, yeah, you definitely need to know what you're doing, or else you will get capped very fast. What's wrong with Kerbal? Kerbal 2 is just not feature complete yet, Smoked. That's all. And that's actually what I was going to say. I would maybe like to try to dip my toes back into KSP1. Maybe. I don't know. I'll think about it. Seeing you do some Tarkov would be cool again. Ugh. Tarkov pushes my buttons, man. I get very annoyed with that game. I don't know if people want to see me get pissed like that. It's funny once or twice. It's not funny every stream. Golden Goose, it's fun, but you'd wait for some patches with Helldivers, okay? Helldivers is definitely space-related. It's basically Starship Troopers. All right. I'm doing my part. So I contend that a UHC running KSP2 would be legit. It might, hey, who knows, guys? We're not guaranteeing anything, but it might be time to open up the can of RSSRO. Might be. Who knows? Depends. I've just been trying to be a little bit more adaptive, you know, just having fun playing good games and talking about space, you know. But it's February, you know. February, from a streaming perspective, there's always kind of a lull. You always get a lull after the holidays. Not as many people watching, you know, because it's after the holidays. People are trying to get back to doing their thing. Usually you get bumps in viewers and stuff like more... as you get closer to, with this stream, as you get closer to the end of the semester. Yeah. After finals, yeah, my number... Dude, there is a correlation between finals week and my view count. I've been watching it over the years. It's absolutely a thing. Can you believe that? There is a bump. The numbers always go down up to Thanksgiving. First semester finals, right? And then into December, they always go up. And then they peter in January and February. And then they go back up in March, April. Once May starts rolling around, you start getting into finals week, they go down again. And then once you get to the 3rd week in June, they go back up. It's so funny, dude. Hey, no, I appreciate it, guys. You're putting your schoolwork before this dumb Twitch stream. Please keep doing that. That was my original goal for this stream, you know? Please keep doing that. That's a good thing, you know? Have you played RimWorld? Ugh, Speed. RimWorld pisses me off. RimWorld makes me so angry, dude. I hate it, dude. I don't hate that game. I don't hate it. It's a great game. Tynan is a sadistic mother trucker, dude.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Who makes this? Who makes this game? Where does this game come from? This game came from hell. Hey, Jack, 55-month resub. Thank you. And Shaw with 100 bits. Yeah. Maybe it might be time to open up the little can of RSSRO and fresh Beppis, you know. ONI? ONI's a good game, KC. Yeah. But have you played Subnautica? Yes. I'm scared of Subnautica. I don't want to play it. I don't have fun playing it. That game, yeah, I don't know what it is, dude. I'm scared of underwater stuff in video games. Not in real life. I've gone diving before. Doesn't bother me. Just in video games. Because I know in the video game, something is going to get me. Or something's trying to get me. And it's in Subnautica, which I have played, something absolutely is trying to get you. So, yeah, no. Hard pass. Not playing that. Children of the Dare, it's a good game. Yep. You're loving the Soviet City Builder. Hope we see more. Right now, Jack, I kind of want to keep playing Workers and Resources. But I want to start getting back into doing more space news. We need to start getting back into a rhythm. As, you know, like, 'cause right now, like, once again, we're in a lull. It's February. Nobody watches in February. What is RSSRO? Real Solar System Realism Overhaul. It's a total, not a total conversion mod for KSP, but it's pretty much the hardest version of KSP 1 that you can play. Yep. Speedrun Buzz Aldrin Space Program Manager. That's a good game. Nice. Actually, also, Pacific Drive comes out tomorrow. Maybe? Oh, I want to play Workers, though. We should go check out Pacific Drive. It's a wrenching game. I kind of think we should. Yeah, King, exactly. Yep. Half and half and half. So MSC 2.0. Pacific Drive is not summer car. No. Does RSSRO include Principia nowadays? I haven't kept up with it. Don't know. I'd have to go talk to them. Pacific Drive is great, but I don't know if it's as much wrenching as you'd like. I don't know. We'll see. Are we going to film a remake of October Sky starring EJ? Building rockets could be fun. Did you ever look into Stationeers? I played Stationeers, Nassim Man. I know the developers of Stationeers. Yeah. Sometimes they come in here and watch me and laugh at me when I blow something up. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I know the guys over at RocketWorks. They're good dudes. Yeah, I've played a lot of Stationeers. Actually, you came in, Nassim, you came in around Workers and Resources. I was actually on a little bit of a Stationeers kick, like probably about a month ago at this time. Oh yeah, he does, and then he posts about it on Twitter. Oh yeah, no, I'm serious. Go look at his tweets. He's like, EJ's playing Stationeers right now. Hope he doesn't die. I'm like, oh, thanks, Dean. Appreciate it, man. Thanks, buddy. Anyone try to rope you into playing Foxhole? Foxhole looks cool. Halsey, yeah. In the rear with the gear. That looks like a pretty cool game. My Admosia. I would love to see a new Soviet city builder run this time with all the lessons. Okay. Jack, the only thing I'm worried about is that there might be more lessons to learn. But then again, that's kind of the beauty of it. We'll play Spaghettov maybe 1 or 2 more streams, but I think at the end of the week we'll put a bow on it. Yeah, we'll put a bow on it. Does StarCraft count as getting into more space-related content? You want a piece of me, boy. Actually, Only Cats, this was once upon a time. I don't know what you were doing 13 years ago, but competitive StarCraft was how I got introduced to Justin TV. Yeah, oh yeah, because this was the place to watch competitive StarCraft a decade and a half ago. That's... my... dude, yeah, here, look. Click on my account, dudes. It's a JTV account. My Twitch account is 13 years old. Whew. Yeah, actually seeing all those people stream competitive StarCraft wanted me to... these VODs are long gone. If anybody saved those VODs, well, I don't know. But my first streams on Twitch were trying to make it as a competitive StarCraft player, and I couldn't get out of Gold League. So let me put it to you like this: I'm not a good StarCraft player. You know why I'm not a good StarCraft player? Because I would try to 1-1-1 BC rush everybody with wraiths and battle cruisers all the time, because spaceship. It didn't work very well. Yeah, that wasn't... I lost a lot. Yeah, because I just wanted to build the spaceships all day. It makes sense that when Kerbal came out, you know, a game that you build spaceships, that me streaming that was a lot more successful. Yeah, 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 yeah. Wow, I have no idea what that means. You play to the last civilian. You never GG. Oh, Cats, no. Don't be that guy. That's BM as hell, man. Come on. Come on now. Have you ever heard of a game called Eve? Yeah, I know about Eve Online. That's the crystal meth of video games. A hard pass. Thank you very much. That was you once? I was going to say, don't... that's so lame, dude. Come on. Come on, meow. Come on, meow. Excel Online. Yeah, exactly. Oh, boy. All right, guys. It's 10:30. I think this is a good space news. Don't you? The learning curve is right up there, though. ISK. Nah, I'm good. Hard pass. Then I played COD forever and then retired to the farm, and my main was Farming Simulator forever. Farming Sim... You wouldn't think that Farming Simulator is a game that would be fun to watch. Yet, there's people that stream Farming Simulator that gets hundreds, thousands of viewers. You wouldn't think, but it do be like that. Yeah, I'm gonna head to bed, RJ. I've been up since like 7 this morning, dude. I'm gonna go hang out with Brimo for a little while. I got one for you, Trans-Siberian Railway Simulator. I know that game, Nassin Man. Yeah. The game where you drive the train across the Trans-Siberian Railroad. That's pretty cool. It's long drive, but with trains, which is pretty sweet. I like trains. Actually, we should play more Derail. We should at least pop in. RCT. Roller Coaster Tycoon. So, Cats, you want to hear... Before I go, last thing. You want to hear something funny? Want to hear something funny about Roller Coaster Tycoon? You know how kids nowadays say stuff like, I never learned... School never taught me how to do finances. They never taught me how to balance a checkbook. Not balance a checkbook, but... Because I don't think kids nowadays know what a checkbook is. But you get the idea, right? You know, people say that, I never learned how to be fiscally responsible. School never taught me that. Well, I haven't been in school for a long time. Let me tell you this. School didn't teach me how to be fiscally responsible. Playing Roller Coaster Tycoon on the hardest difficulty settings taught me to be fiscally responsible. That taught me how to balance a budget pretty well, actually. Yeah. I played the original Roller Coaster Tycoon when it came out. And RCT2. And Loopy Landscapes, Corkscrew Follies. Yeah, all of them. I beat every single scenario in Roller Coaster Tycoon. 1, 2, and the 2 expansions, and 3. Yeah. Yeah, Roller Coaster Tycoon taught me to be fiscally conservative. Yeah, it taught me to be careful with your money, right? Like, that's why I'm good at balancing budgets in cities. You know, I was about to say workers and resources, but good-ish, maybe? No, I'm pretty damn good at balancing, like games where you have to budget stuff, I'm good at balancing it out. Don't learn fiscal responsibility from City Skylines 2. Bill, you know, honestly, dude, that haunts me. That some kid, dude, as somebody that does STEM outreach and tries to teach people about stuff and tries to get people excited about engineering and excited about like how a freaking road is made, because you don't think about that stuff, right? Or how drainage is made, like how does your sewer work? I think that's cool, right? And I think we take it for granted. It's cool to learn and understand it because, you know, that it will end up like the freaking Matrix movie. Nobody knows how it works. They just know that it works, right? Like, I don't like that. That's very profound to me. And nothing, dude, this haunts me. When we did that fail him map and we showed that you can fail forwards in City Skylines, look, man, I was 13, 14, 15 at one point. And guess what, dude? I'm not going to sit here and say that the kids nowadays didn't have the same challenges that I had when I was a kid, right? But I know for damn sure there's somebody out there that is introverted, right? And stays home and plays video games all day and plays cities all day, and that becomes their expectation for how money works. So, you know, there's a kid out there that's connecting some neurons in their brain that as long as I keep building roads, the game is going to reward me. And then, say this kid likes civil engineering. Say they start getting into it. And then they go and get into it and they learn that that's not how it works. You're going to be upset. You know, like, I feel like Chip in Talladega Nights. These are my grandkids, and you're teaching them wrong. Like, dude, that haunts me, man. I don't like that at all. Cheat codes, it's right there in the name. Yeah, Socks, yeah. Just download more roads. Yeah, I don't like that, man. I don't like that city building games are just becoming, you know, you build the city of your dreams. Failing to mention that building any structure is a notoriously difficult task to do. We don't just crap out skyscrapers out of the blue like that. That's a complicated project with a lot of different facets. You know, building design has to do with statics in engineering, right? That's a complicated process, especially building something like, let's take Freedom Tower in New York, like building something like that, or the Empire State Building, if you want to go a little older, or the Burj Dubai, or the Burj Khalifa in the UAE. We don't just crap that stuff out. City sets the expectation that we can just build it instantly. Not a fan. Not a fan. Yeah, Storm. I know some kids are gonna. What bothers me is that some people are gonna show a remote interest in civil engineering, right? And then see that cities is not how it works, and they're not going to like it as much. Maybe they'll go be a TikToker instead. You know, as somebody that works in content creation, we don't need more TikTokers. We don't need more YouTubers. We need more rocket scientists and engineers. Probably do with a little more of those. Sorry, I don't know. If I've truly just become the old man, well, get off my lawn. Okay? Get off my lawn. Get off my lawn. You know. Hello, old man. What's up, AP? How you doing? Let's build the city on rock and roll instead of cash. I like there's a sandbox mode too, but the regular mode should not be sandbox-like. Yeah, Yoast, exactly. Mm-hmm. Good? Yeah, AP, I'm good. Just winding down. Off my lawn. Yeah, back in my day, the games were difficult. I had to play with no crosshairs on a CRT monitor with a 60 Hz refresh rate. You kids have it easy with your curved screens and your LED displays. Your members only jacket is in the mail. My man. We could also use some Mad Lads wrenching on cars that may or may not end up impractical. Let's all get out, but banging nonetheless. Yeah, we should do more wrenching. In May, the automotive content is going to come at us hot and heavy, Storm. Yeah, in May. That's all I'll say. We're going to go on EJ and Ernok's excellent adventure. It's going to be a good time. Your wife showed up to a LAN party with a 21-inch CRT. People started yelling out, "Monitor hacks!" Anybody? Are there any Counter-Strike 1.6 players out there? Tape the crosshairs to the monitor, use the scouts, play scouts knives. Win. Oh yeah, I did that. That was the meta. Taping crosshairs or using a dry erase marker on your monitor to tape the crosshairs for the scout. Didn't have to. If you alt-tabbed to put a Windows cursor on the screen. You were a competitive Quake guy? I started Warped. The first shooter that I played was GoldenEye. Right? GoldenEye, and then a little bit of Doom after that, but I played Doom at a friend's house because my computer wasn't good enough at the time. Keep in mind, I was like 7 and didn't really, or 8 and didn't really know how to computer. So it was GoldenEye first, then a little bit of Doom, and then the game that could run on my computer was Starsheet's Tribes. Yeah, Tribes. Yeah, it didn't get into Perfect Dark, to be honest with you, KC. That's because I didn't have the expansion pack on my N64. Yeah, didn't get into Perfect Dark because of that. Your first shooter was Halo 1 on PC. Bruh. Actually, Tribes 3 came out. Or there's a Tribes 3 on the horizon, believe it or not. Like, I don't know what that's about, but your first online shooter was Rogue Spear. A man of taste. Good for you. What about Turok? Didn't play Turok, no. There's an open beta for Tribes 3 on Steam. Tribes killed my favorite game, Star Siege. Yeah. And then, this was like 97, 98. And then I figured out what StarCraft was from the kid that lived down the street. This guy was a total freaking nerd. I think he works for Google or something now. Actually, no, I think he got poached for Salesforce or something. That doesn't matter. This kid was a super nerd, and he showed me all these freaking cool games. Yeah. So, Starsheet's Tribes, StarCraft. What came after that? Halo in 2001. Love that game. Still love it. Master Chief is one of my all-time favorite protagonists from any game. No, anything after Halo ODST and Reach does not exist. That's not Halo. That's some pathetic fan fiction. Yep, I said it. Not sorry. Played Halo. Obviously, Counter-Strike. Actually, I think I got into Counter-Strike 1.6 when 1.6 actually came out. I remember the first version of Counter-Strike that I played was 1.5. Pre-Riot Shield. Yeah. Super Mario plus Duck Hunter. Yeah, good man. Nice, nice. Yeah, exactly, Odin. I remember probably sometime in like 99, 2000, I was like, I just want to play Counter-Strike, and my computer kept trying to install whatever this Steam nonsense is on my computer, and I didn't know what that was. I was like, what the hell is Steam? This isn't Counter-Strike. What the heck is this? I didn't play Unreal Tournament until UT2K4, which is a great game. BF Desert Combat. That's a blast from the past. Dude, I remember I was in the Battlefield 1942 beta. That came out in 1999. So I played that, Counter-Strike, Halo. Damn, dude. See, this is what I mean when I say I love shooter games. I grew up playing shooter games. But also, I played Roller Coaster Tycoon and stuff, too, you know. And then in 2004, Halo 2, obviously, but Star Wars Galaxies came out. I played the heck out of that game in Counter-Strike Source through high school. Whew, a lot of Counter-Strike Source in high school. Yeah. I have a really great op shot, to be honest with you. Still do. Still got the shovels. But probably should have paid more attention in physics. Pretty sure that would have been,
Discovery, go and throttle.
Hey, Yost. 21 months. Thanks, buddy. Yeah. So Battlefield 1942, I played a lot of Battlefield Vietnam. That was a really good game. BFV was fun. Ever played games like King's Quest or Myst? No, never got into them. Yeah, I played way too many video games. I should have paid attention. Airlifting tanks. Yeah, you could take the Sheridan tank and lift it with the Chinook and just go around shooting people with a tank in the air. That was funny, man. I played World of Warcraft. Fellas, I don't like World of Warcraft. Not because it's a bad game. I played it. I played it for, I don't know, in 2006, I think. I played it for about a month. I played a Night Elf Hunter. Night Elf Hunter grinding out XP, killing Murlocs in Menethil Harbor. I don't like WoW. It's not that it's a bad game. WoW is one of the best RPGs ever made. I don't like WoW because it killed Star Wars Galaxies. Yeah. Star Wars Galaxies is quite possibly the best RPG. Pre-CU Star Wars Galaxies was one of the smartest and coolest RPGs I've ever played, and it was Star Wars on top of that. Yeah, I always have a little bit of resentment towards World of Warcraft. No, well, if you think about it, Hibbit, when World of Warcraft came out, everybody went and played that, and the developers at SOE started trying to make the game more enticing to bring in new players, so they started changing stuff. Think about it. That's how that went down, dude. And then they started adding the stupid freaking holocrons, and that made the holocron grind, and then they tried to make it more like World of Warcraft, and then there was the combat update, and they ruined the game, and it's just awful. Ever try the other WoW, World of Warships? I played World of Warships when it came out from Dingo. It's fun playing that with viewers. But the thing about World of Warships is that if you play it with viewers, any viewers that get on the other team are just going to scope for you on the map. It's very annoying, actually. You ever play Desert Strike? No. When did you get into Minecraft? I played in the Minecraft beta, if I remember right. Yeah. Did you hear about the fan-made reverse engineered Star Wars Galaxies? Yeah, SWGEMU. Yeah, absolutely. We still have a community server. Yeah, I still run it. Yeah, of course. Our community Minecraft server's still there. The city's still there. You guys can play it anytime you want. I'm just not really into Minecraft. We played Minecraft during the pandemic when people needed stuff to do. Now I have other stuff to do. So look, everybody plays Minecraft hardcore for like 3 months, 5 months, a year, and then you log out one day and you're just like, I don't need to play this anymore. You play it in binges. That's how it's always been. Guild Wars? Yeah, Guild Wars is a pretty good game. Holocron grinding was fun. No, it was the Antichrist. I still think Jump to Lightspeed was a great expansion for that game, Hibbit. I'm not going to lie to you. The shipwright profession was nuts. You could hot rod X-Wings. It was so freaking cool. Starfield tried to do that. They tried to do that. They tried. Anyway, Medal of Honor. The first Medal of Honor that I played was on PlayStation 2. Medal of Honor Frontline. Great game. Patterson, over here! It's a great game. Yeah, there you go, AP. Yeah, I hear you. All right, Aqualex. Yeah, I'm gonna call it now. Good conversation, dudes. Anyway, that's gonna do it for me. Tomorrow, guys, I don't know. Well, we got the IM-1 coverage, so I'm gonna cover that lunar landing. We're gonna watch. Hopefully, we're gonna watch Odysseus land on the moon. I'm not missing that. After that, we'll. I think. We'll probably play Workers, and then I don't know if we'll do Space News because the first 4 hours of the stream are going to be, well, not 4 hours, but it's gonna be Space News for a long time tomorrow. Watching that lunar landing, so maybe I don't know. Maybe Space News the whole day. We'll see. Did you ever play Fallen Order or Jedi Survivor? No, smoked. The last 3 episodes of Star Wars kind of turned me off to any Star Wars games, dude. I don't know what it is. Anyway, do you have the UTC time for IM-1? 9 o'clock, 9 p.m. Deadscom, I think. Do you have the AST time? 6 a.m., I think, AP. Anyway, we're going to see that lunar lander tomorrow, and then, yeah, we'll be back with more games, etc., etc. And then, yeah, Space News 2. Yeah, we'll go from there. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed Space News. I want to try to do Space News more. Get back into the groove of a more set schedule for it, because I think people, well, you guys have been pretty vocal about it. People want to see that. So, cool. All right, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you very much for watching. See you at noontime. Have a good night. I'll talk to you in the morning. And thank you.